Hey, if it's Tuesday, it must be no vacancy, unless, of course, I'm on a plane or doing a speaking gig or something. But either way, we got a lot.
I'm Anthony. Welcome to No Vacancy Live. That's my friend Glenn.
You're watching the #1 show in hospitality. Everybody, welcome to No Vacancy Live. I, of course, am Glenn Hausman. Anthony Melchiori is somewhere out there in the known universe. Not sure where he is, but hopefully he will be able to join us today. I want to thank all of you guys and girls out there for tuning in. I'm excited to have you with us as we wrap up our final 3 shows of 2023. It's hard to believe we've got another year gone by. This week, we're going to be taking a look at 2023 and how it affected some great hoteliers out there, as well as looking ahead to 2024. So we're in the final stretch. I don't know what your holiday plans are, but my thing that I'm most excited about is not being in an airport over a holiday break. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And somebody I know very well from here in the New England area, although I'm technically mid-Atlantic as a New Yorker. Connecticut to New England. We got Justin Jabara, President, Meyer Jabara Hotels. I should ask, though, are you in Connecticut or are you down in Florida today?
So around this time of the year, I try to move to our West Palm Beach office. But,
Yep.
I'm in Connecticut here.
Yeah, I had that. You were wearing that sweater. I had that Connecticut vibe about you. You really look like you're ready for Christmas in Connecticut. Coming to the Hallmark Channel next week. The story of when Justin leaves the big city and decides to head to the suburbs and have a baby, which is coming apparently tomorrow. What's going on with that?
Yeah, it's a Hallmark movie in the making. So my wife is very pregnant, and my phone is right in front of me. I'm waiting for the phone call. But between here and Christmas, we will have a beautiful baby daughter.
That is so
number 2.
Wonderful. I'm super excited for you. I can't even remember what that moment of anticipation was like before my little ones came. Well, most congratulations to you. So obviously, that's going to be the best thing that happens to you in the entirety of 2023. But shifting from there to business, how are you feeling these days? How are you feeling about this year?
We're just finishing up budget season and the year's wrapping up. A lot of year-end work going on here in the corporate office.
Mm-hmm.
And it's around this time of the year that I reminisce and I look at the year back.
Yep.
If you had asked me in 12 months from now how I thought this year was going to go, I'd tell you I was cautiously optimistic.
Mm-hmm.
I may have told you this in one of our interviews. I was cautiously optimistic about 2023.
Yep.
Wrapping up the year, from a portfolio standpoint, it was very positive. It was a positive year across the board, and operationally, some of the struggles that we faced really coming into this year have waned. So. That staffing shortage that we were facing, that just seemed like a unsurmountable task. We're now focused on how do we get the best people in the right roles, right? And recruit for quality so all in all, a very positive year from a management company standpoint. Also very positive. We actually outperformed our projections, which is spectacular.
Awesome. Well, congratulations and all that. Let's break it down a little bit. And I say this for the folks that are out there, a lot of our younger viewers. In our business, we tend to clump everything together, right? When we talk about the state of the hospitality industry, but you're right to break it down. The operations side is very, very different than the management portfolio side of it and that sort of business. And then we have the whole investment, development, et cetera, all around that. So we tend to put it all together. So I'd like to break it down into different parts, right? Let's start with the operations and then we'll get into the nitty-gritty stuff on your company. What is it that this year that helped you exceed those expectations financially? Was it that the labor was able to produce for you more efficiently? Were you able to charge more? Did you see an ebbing in inflation? Probably a combination of all of that, but how do you see it?
So across the portfolio, performance-wise, there was that recovery that we expected still happened, right? And so it slowed down a little bit. Now there are properties of ours in the leisure markets, which did see a pullback. And so some of our Florida properties, some of our core leisure markets, but they were so highly inflated from a rate and occupancy standpoint. What we noticed was they really baselined back to where they probably should have been performing, right?
Right.
And so all in all, very positive. Now, as far as the management company goes, because you're right, it's the operations and then the corporate management company. So we call that the MCO. That did well also. So we were able to operate hotels and produce new services out to the properties based off their needs, and perform on that well. One of the things we did in 2023 is, and we were working on this in 22, right, was lever our business intelligence platform. And so, while people were, in the depths of COVID, we were actually hiring a business intelligence team, and hiring in an IT team, and we were adding to our capability as a company. What that allowed us to do in 2023 is have the tools and the data real time to make better business decisions quicker, and at our management level, at the property level and the senior level, to produce on that. And I think when you put it all together, it's a very nice story. Now, from the development side, and our personal investments, I must say the high interest rates and the high cost to build has created some significant headwinds. And so any deal that we were working on, what we're finding is it's not taking double the amount of time to get a deal done, but maybe triple or quadruple the amount of time and resources to get a deal done than it would be in 19.
All right. So I want to talk about business intelligence aspect of it, but considering that you just talked about getting deals over the finish line, that is something I'm seeing everywhere, Justin. So it's important for people out there to know this is not something that's affecting your company. It's affecting our entire industry. Interest rates have gone up to numbers we haven't seen since before the Great Recession, right? Or I guess shortly afterwards when they started coming down. And it's kind of changed the dynamics of what could possibly make for a profitable new build or for a sale of a hotel, right? So as these market dynamics change, how does that start to change your expansion strategy when it comes to landing management contracts? If you can't build new hotels, how are you seeing it?
So for us, the world is a little bit different. We own hotels and we also manage hotels. So 2/3 of our portfolio we privately own. And then the 1/3 that we do third-party management for is primarily for private equity, family offices, or developers of Class A real estate and other spaces coming into our segment.
Right.
So holistically, what we've found with the high interest rates is it's making it extremely difficult to get something over the line. So we need to approach it differently. So the deals that we are working on, we've had to get very creative to make them pencil, and so that's from a full capital stack standpoint.
Could you share that a little bit? You could give a hypothetical example if you want, but I'm just curious as to how you can get that done. Why is a deal that would have worked in 2019 not going to work in 2024, and how does the interest rates really affect your ability to make it profitable?
Well, I mean, it's simply build costs, and we see this, not only
it's more than the interest rates. It's costs more to build it, and therefore
and the cost
more capital, which is going to cost more. Sorry,
right.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
We're doing. I mean, our renovations. We have a design and construction department behind me, and they are just flat out renovating hotels for PIPs that were deferred through COVID, as many of us did. A PIP that I could have done in 2019 to a PIP that we're doing.
And Dr. Producer San is we got to explain a PIP, property improvement plan.
Yes,
that means either you're renovating and getting it up to snuff, either from an internal edict or if you're with a brand, maybe their edict as well. Go on. Sorry, Justin.
Exactly, and so it in many cases is 30% higher. In some cases, it's even worse by the time you factor in the cost of the material and then the additional cost of construction in today's environment.
Right. Okay. So it's getting tougher to get deals done. And that means you have to be really, really super careful. That's difficult for you, but for the operation side of the business, and this is where I really want to try to make a clear distinction for some of the younger people in our business, that could actually be a good thing for existing hotels. It means that there's less of a probability that someone's going to open up a competing property that's brand spanking new across the street from you. So that's the silver lining as I see it. How do you rationalize all of this in your head?
Glenn, it sounds like you were in our corporate office doing business plan reviews, because
Yeah.
that is exactly when we looked at the SWOT analysis of
Yeah.
many of our markets, there is still record low supply in
Mhm.
many of these markets. And so that, while it's on one side very difficult to
Right.
build a hotel, on the operating existing portfolio,
Mhm.
we are blessed in the fact that typically there's a couple hotels that open up every year in a market. And
Mhm.
because of high interest rates, because of the same struggles we're facing on the other side of the company, operationally is fruitful for us. And one of the reasons why we still think 2024 is going to be a good year.
Yeah, and that's interesting. So while people are having development challenges, this might be a good opportunity for you folks to be able to push through these barriers that we're starting to see right now for rates, right? Also, I love what you're doing. You're focused on independent properties. I got the Wentworth in Jackson, New Hampshire, right here behind me. It says it's a historic building from 1887. Man, you can't beat that. That must be a real fun property to operate.
So this was a very interesting asset. We just finished repositioning it, and we have great partners on this property. But this 1887, 60 keys, mostly suites among 5 buildings, and this renovation. One of the challenges, we wanted to maintain the history through it, but modernize the asset, and then
Right.
bring in amenities that the newer traveler is looking for. So we added additional food and beverage,
Mhm.
a whole slew of things. The great news is actually we're in the New York Post today in the travel section.
No way.
Yeah, which is nice, and so it's getting a lot of press. The hotel is doing spectacular, and I was getting the updates over the weekend of
Uh-huh.
just a sold out house. So we're thrilled to see it chugging along and post repositioning.
Well, that is awesome. Congratulations. I know you guys have Christmas special packages, New Year's special packages, all of that kind of stuff. And for you that don't know, those things are critical for your public relations efforts. It's a good tool in order to get the word out. And something like that could be the linchpin that gets you into a major newspaper such as the New York Post. I didn't see the piece myself. I don't know if that was highlighted, but typically PR people try to think of some sort of angle like that. Otherwise, you're just saying the same old, just stay at our hotel. It's lovely. You need to have that little bit of an angle over there. So that sort of thing gives you that business intelligence, right? And I want to get back to that. How are you thinking about business intelligence? And tell me a little bit about that team that you brought together in order to be able to go to a little bit more depth in order to get people to come than what your competitors are thinking about.
So one of the things that we did during COVID was we looked at COVID and said, if COVID's going to define us, how do we want it to define us?
Right.
And so we took it as an opportunity to make some change, taking our journey culture, right? And the principle change is good. When we looked at our corporate systems, we actually historically had written all of our own software. So knowing that the future is in technology,
Right.
we wrote a lot of our software. What has happened is between security settings and everything else, that has gotten very difficult to do and maintain. So we have moved.
You had me doing our own software. I can't believe you guys were doing that at all. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, well, and it's atypical, right? And
Yeah.
so for us, as we always say, how do we want our hotels operated? And so we want our managers to have the best information real time. So what the BI team is focused around is taking in hundreds of thousands of data points, which transmit, regularly,
Right.
and making sense of them, in a way that a housekeeping manager, a food and beverage manager, a chef, a general manager, a director of sales has the right information, so that they're not spending half of their time looking for data to make a
Mhm.
decision. I use the analogy of when we have our corporate reviews every month, and everybody comes into our office, and it's a 2-day review of the portfolio.
Right.
And it would take a full day to prepare for the 2-day meeting.
Right.
And I said, this is highly inefficient. And then chances are sometimes the information you got may have not been up to date
Right.
or was getting updated. And so what the BI team is focused around is getting that data, those thousands of data points, so that they are up to date, they are correct, and at the fingertips of the ops team, so that they can focus on serving our guests, not looking at, where
Yes.
they are forecast wise, cost wise, real time cost in the kitchen, right? Real time
Mhm.
cost in the housekeeping department, so that it's not this laborious process.
And these things also help you refine processes and procedures, which can help eliminate that labor issue that the industry has been having. And we're solving that issue, I think, in two ways, industry wide. You tell me if you're seeing it the same way. People are coming back to hospitality and filling some of those roles, while that business intelligence technology aspect of it is creating more free hours. Say in housekeeping, for example, if you can knock off a couple of hours from each housekeeper's work, then before you know it, you're cutting down on the total number of people that you need. Are you seeing the same sorts of things in your businesses?
Yeah. I think there's many applications to technology where we can become more efficient, right? And
Mm-hmm.
and so there's things like mobile check-in, right?
Yep.
Which it's pretty simple. If they
Yep.
check in on their phone, we can be more efficient with the hours at the front desk.
Mm-hmm.
So they're focused on the right things. I'd rather have a front desk associate focused on the guest experience,
Agreed.
right? Delivering a memorable experience to that
Mm-hmm.
guest, than the blocking and tackling of
Mm-hmm.
a check-in or even room assignments, right? And so there's new software around that. In our corporate office, we use AI technology
Mm-hmm.
on our accounts payables, right? I mean, it's really simple, but when you think of the track a invoice goes through, by the time it goes from the vendor and it's paid, I mean,
Right.
the amount of people that touch it, it's highly inefficient. So those are some areas where
That's a great point. Just got me thinking on my QuickBooks account. Sometimes I look and it can tell you how often they've looked at the invoice, and you can have like 20, 30 times somebody's looking at an invoice before they pay it. That's I don't know how many people are doing it or what the procedures work. That tells me that it's spending a lot of time that could be better utilized elsewhere. Right.
and we rather have an AR clerk focused on, what is in that invoice, right? And what did
Mm-hmm.
you order housekeeping supplies too often? We're paying two drop
Right.
ships on that, right? That's where I think, the true success in 2024 is going to come from is operational proficiencies.
Mm-hmm.
Our industry has there's a very interesting thing that we started feeling in 23, and I don't think it's going away, which
Yeah.
is, occupancy basically is where it is. Rates are rate growth, that huge rate growth where you just say raise the rates. Yeah, that's starting to taper off.
Uh-huh.
And so what we're seeing is we're plateauing a little bit, right? And we're not seeing that huge rate growth. But what's still happening is inflation. So from the bottom up, right? Some of that wage pressure is tapered
Yep.
off, but it's still there, right? That the
And let me just add a quick statistic. Wages in hospitality went up 3 times faster than general sector jobs in the last few years, according to the American Hotel and Lodging Association. Please continue, Justin.
which is huge. And
Yeah.
so the hotel operational model is not built to handle this, right?
Mhm.
So if you can't grow your way out of it, right, and you still have those pressures in the middle of the statement, right,
Right.
through inflation, it's got to come from somewhere. And so our feeling is operational proficiency and being best in class in the industry is how we'll compete in 2024. What few people are talking about is the below the line pressures that owners are facing. And so in certain markets, for example, Florida, insurance, when people
Right.
went to go renew their insurance this year, doubled.
Yep.
And so
And in some cases, tripled for homeowners insurance as well. So that's a statewide
right,
issue. Please
right.
continue.
And so that's all cash that went to the
Mhm.
bottom line. And
Right.
and if you had to refinance this year,
Mm-hmm.
right, your financing, your interest expense could have doubled or tripled.
Right.
So when you look at the hotel model, it's got to come from somewhere else, and so our feeling is it's got to come out of operational efficiency.
Yeah, totally. And I've said this recently on this show, but it always amazes to me how people are so good in this business and can see so much, combined with advances in technology. It seems to open up new areas of opportunity for profitability or reducing expenses that we wouldn't have considered in the prior cycle. I remember when we were peaking pre-pandemic, we're like, how much more operationally adept can everybody get? It seems like no, we can't go anywhere. And then boom, everyone seems to have blown through a hole. And now companies like yours are rethinking everything in order to drive more profitability by lowering expenses. And I see this sort of thing, Justin, as if you look at every aspect of your business, start to think about that rule of 1%, right? Make it 1% more efficient this week, then do it again next month or whatever. And you do that across all areas of the business. And before you start to know it, you're saving some real money over there.
My grandfather always said it's a nickel and dime business,
Yeah.
right? And so, we one of the things that we're beta testing right now in our corporate office is using AI technology and chatbots on the catering side. So think of how many times you get a catering lead, right? And so that catering lead goes to an email address, and then somebody needs to back and forth, qualify the lead, and then it works its way through the sales process. Well, what we've found is, that's relatively inefficient. I'd rather have that salesperson focus on servicing their clients and active sales. And so there's technology out there that will do that. And by the way, it'll do it 24 hours a day.
Right.
And as we know, the first one to respond to a sales lead is typically the one that gets it. And so it's about being more efficient with the payroll dollars that we have. So that we can, at the end of the day, be more successful.
And also, it seems like giving your people the tools that they need to be more successful. And I'm going to, create an inference here, but I bet that leads to more employee engagement and their desire to stay longer within your organization.
We at Meyer Jabara have our culture. It's called the Journey Culture, and Dr. Jim Velasco many moons ago helped us roll this out. And one of the things that's interesting about 2023 as we look back at it is that our turnover was in the low 20s across the organization, which is unheard of. I mean,
industry-wide, it's something like 80%.
It's like 80%. And the reality is, depending on the property, right, it could be higher.
Correct. Some are over 100%, which is insanity.
Right. And our associate satisfaction scores, I almost said AOS, but our associate satisfaction scores this year were the best we had. And we use Zenger Folkman. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but they survey corporate health, and it's just not in hotel companies, but it could be it's across many industries. And we scored in the high 90s for Zenger Folkman.
Amazing.
All of that comes from being in the people business.
Yep.
And so we are in the hotel business, but all technology allows us to do is give our people better tools so that they can go be great. And so we're empowering them through technology. We're empowering them through giving them the right tools so that we're successful. Our focus in 2024, and it is a focus every year, but my performance, I write a performance agreement every year. And I give it to everybody in the company. It gets published across the whole organization. And we believe in transparency. And there's nothing more transparent than here is what I'm committing to do as the president of the company. And you can hold me accountable to that.
Awesome.
But number one is always people on my PA. And 2024 will be no different.
Now, again, for the folks out there, for every person you don't have to hire, you're saving somewhere in the around $5,700 in hard and soft costs. So for properties that are running that 80% turnover compared to what you're doing, all of that money is either going away in man hours, which could be better satisfying your guests, or going out there and getting new business, and you're losing all of that opportunity. So you're able to keep that in house and keep your expenses lower than if you continued to replace people. So moving into 2024, where's your areas of opportunity, do you think?
Margin. There's just a pressure on margin, from the operating side. So that's what we're focused on. Margin. We spoke a little bit about people, right? And where we're focused on there, and then growth. I think that 2024 will be a great growth opportunity year. The last couple of years have been stifled by some of the issues that we just talked about. There is a disconnect in our industry, right? When you talk about basically hotels, they could be strongly performing hotels, but are facing big headwinds, right? Or they may have been purchased, built at just too high of a cost, and the market have not come back. And so I think, as far as growth goes, we need to be more creative in the way that we approach growth. We need to look at different areas and avenues. We are just closing on two pieces of land in different markets, right? And so we wouldn't do that if we weren't bullish on the future. And so, but I got to tell you, both of those pieces of land are mixed-use development. So historically, we would just put a hotel on it. Now there's other components with that, including residential.
And that helps things pencil out. So Snehal Patel says margin, but how? Maybe you could just explain that a little bit more for him.
So I think it's finding efficiencies in the model. One of the things that rang budget review over budget review in our corporate office was, how do we take the lessons learned in 2020 and make sure that we continue to apply them in 2023 and 2024. So, I mean, a simple example is how we purchase, right? And we're lucky in the fact that we have a department here in our corporate office that is focused around purchasing. But listen, if we can't grow our rate in occupancy, right, the margin's got to come from somewhere. And so how do we purchase soaps more efficiently? How do we become more efficient with our labor? We're always going to need people to clean rooms. Right. I mean, that's just so, but how do we get more efficient with that?
That's right.
Menu design. How do we get more efficient with our menu design so there's less waste? Right. And all that flows right into margin.
Yeah. All of that makes a whole lot of sense. What are you most excited about besides your new blessing in your family coming this week for 2024?
Well, I looked at the calendar and I forgot that Sunday was Christmas Eve. So I mean, I got baby on the brain, but obviously that is a great hallmark that we're excited for. I believe that 2024 is going to be a good year for the industry. When I wake up every day and I sit at my desk, I pinch myself because I remember what it was like in 2020 and 2021, and times are good. Times are good. Yes. Is there opportunity in certain segments? Yes, that is true. But if you look at where we are from an industry, it's very positive. And for all intents and factors, what 2024 has in store for us, I think we can manage through quite successfully.
Yeah, I think, again, as in industry parlance, the fundamentals are there, right? People want to travel. And one of the things that amazes me most that I think, Justin, is that it's been keeping our industry going is that it's become so evident that people want to travel all the time. Ever since the Great Recession, we really moved from that materialistic culture into an experiential kind of society. And we saw that. We saw that in the summer of 21 and 22 with everyone flooding to the Florida hotels. And we saw it this past year where some folks might be visiting some of your hotels up here in the New England area or going to Europe. I think almost everyone went to Europe this past summer for sure. So, all of these factors are out there making sure that this business continues to be rich and exciting. But Justin, how are you thinking about now? People are out there and traveling, and I've been a big proponent about the digital nomad. And in the dark days of COVID, people are saying that's over. It's never going to happen again. I just read an article this morning about a husband and wife that have remote jobs that have been traveling since 2020. and only spend a few weeks in New York every year visiting family this very specific time of year. How do you see the future of like digital nomads and the opportunities that might open up for your hotels?
So I think there is a normalization, right? So if you look at remote work and people
Mhm.
coming back, we're starting to see that. Now it's taken a lot longer than I ever anticipated it to happen.
I can't believe CEOs are still saying, come on, come back to
Right,
the
right. Yeah, I
office.
mean, it just, but we're seeing that. We saw that among the leisure markets and everything
Mhm.
else. You know, our industry, I think, has become somewhat commoditized
Yeah.
over the last many years, and so what I think will set operators and owners apart in the this year and years to come is how that we differentiate the experience in the
Right.
hotel, right? And so when you talk about digital nomads, right, whether it's just a cookie cutter franchise hotel or it's a cookie cutter franchise hotel with a great check-in experience and personalized service and those touches, it doesn't matter what chain scale you are. You could be at economy all the way up,
Right.
but I think that is how you're going to win not only the digital nomad customer, but customers moving forward.
Yeah. I was actually at a hotel last week that I couldn't do my show from because the internet wasn't good enough. I'm like, how could that be in today's day and age?
It is one of the large. I mean, we look at a lot of guest comment cards, and poor internet just doesn't fly in today's world. And remember, the average customer, it's not just one device now; it could be up to 6 devices that are in the room. So yeah, our it's one of the reasons we brought IT in house. And
Mhm.
this year, we hired in a team to do installations. So it's not
Awesome.
only product IT support across the field, but it's installations because all of those hotels that were built with one Cat 5
Yeah.
in the room, it just doesn't cut it anymore. And so we're looking at fiber optic, Cat 6. How many
Mhm.
Cat 6 lines need to go into a room? I just toured the Hotel Marcel in
Yeah.
New
In
Haven,
Connecticut. Yep. Mhm.
which is Bruce Becker's hotel. Spectacular, by the way. One of the first, or possibly the only passive hotel that's out there. But all the lighting in the room is low voltage.
Yeah.
Unheard of. Unheard of.
Yep.
But from a technology standpoint, that's 6 to 8 runs of Cat 5 in a room. Uh, I bet you Bruce's internet's pretty good.
I would think so. That's for sure. Hey, listen, I got to give a quick shout out to my friend Jessica Janis, who works with Corning. They did all the fiber for Resorts World. And whenever I stay there, I was just there a couple of weeks ago, their internet is so blazing fast from
Yeah.
wherever I am on the property that I get such crystal clear images when I'm doing this broadcast there. So for any of you out there that don't have that internet, it's really a place that your customers will notice. 10 years ago, Justin, maybe even more, I was telling people it's as essential as electricity and water,
And a
right?
hot shower. I mean, if you don't have internet,
Right.
it's a problem.
Yeah, it's worse than a hot shower. I could go a day without showering. I cannot go a day without, checking in on the internet because my whole career is based on that, for example, and most people's lives are.
For sure.
You going to be out at Alice?
No, what I looked at my calendar and my wife had blocked many
Yeah, like 6 weeks probably at least.
life.
Yeah.
So I don't think Alice is on the schedule, but I will be on the road shortly after that.
Well, hopefully, I'm sure I'll see you at the Hunter Hotel Investment Conference coming up March 18th. Sorry, I'm looking at my calendar.
We'll be there.
March
Yeah, for
18th.
sure. Yeah.
Awesome. How about a good quick plug for you guys before I let you go for the day?
Well, listen, at Meyer Jabara Hotels, we just keep doing what we do, which is delivering, best in class management and world class experience. So 23 was a great year, and we're looking forward to a spectacular 24.
Let me also just add, I think, Justin, if you were not actually born in a hotel, you were pretty much like raised in a hotel.
we didn't go to camp as kids. We toured hotels, and so not only it's with Bill and Richard, but my grandfather and father were in the business. We're three generation hotel company.
Yeah, what is it, like 45 years or something like that?
45 with Bill and Richard, but if you put my grandfather and Arthur with Cervico, it's well into the 60s.
So what was that like? I mean, your story is not, uncommon in our business. I think everyone, in like half the people I think that own hotels now grew up in hotels. What was that like for you? And when did you realize that you actually loved it and it wasn't just a preordained future for you?
Well, when I was younger, I mean, it was normal to us. So we didn't go on, vacation. We took hotels, and we didn't have babysitters. We ended up at the front desk, or
Yeah.
as we got bigger, they put us in the kitchen.
Yep.
I must say, I learned to curse at a very young age from spending so much time in a kitchen.
Actually, we did not get my kids to curse early enough, and that's a parenting fail on my part.
Yeah. So that's a hazard of growing up in a hotel kitchen, but it was a blessing. And as I got further through my life, instead of summer camp, I would go to a hotel and I would live at a hotel for a month, 2 months. And I would work there, and it was everything from being a bellman to room service to working on the banquet line inside a kitchen. Or so I'm blessed to have that experience. My father always said you could do what you like, and you may know this, but I actually had a career as a EMT cardiac and a firefighter, and for many years, and moved full time into the hotel business. And so I have a very interesting viewpoint on the world. And I must say, I wake up every day and I'm blessed to be in the hotel business because you'll never be lonely, right? You'll never be bored. And there's just always something going on. And we just have a great big family around us between our properties and everybody here in our corporate office and our partners.
All right, one last question for you. How many megs do you think is enough per room? And I don't think he's talking about that giant shark from the Jason Statham movies.
You know what? We always struggle with this, and the brand standards keep going up and up. One thing that I would say is plan for the future. So everything that we are building now either has fiber going to it, or multiple runs of Cat 6, because that TV that we put in, 3 years ago didn't need a dedicated line, and now it does. And the hotels we built 14 years ago, where the access points were out in the hallway, now there's one in every room. And so one of the things that we spend a lot of time thinking about is planning towards the future as everything goes online. And I mean, you talk about the Hilton Smart Room or the Marriott Smart Room. Yeah. I mean, it's just a matter of time between, when the blinds need low voltage to them so they can operate.
Oh, there's already a lot of companies out there that are helping create products that can control the whole room at all different levels of hospitality, not just at the luxury level. All right. So Suzanne wants to know, with all that experience, what do you consider to be your superpower?
I think it's our people and our culture, and a lot of companies will say that, but I must say, having grown up in this business, but then also taken the business through COVID, our people and our culture are what got us through COVID, and got us through COVID relatively unscathed, which was just a blessing. We spend a lot of time on our journey culture. We live it every day. For example, my PA, which will go out to the company. Glenn, I'll send you a copy of it, because it's everywhere from the housekeeper all the way through that have our commitment. But I believe that is our superpower and what makes us great. It is my role and Bill and Richard's role to ensure that we have great hotels and good locations with strong brands, and we invest into those. But at the end of the day, what differentiates our product is our people, and our people are our superpower.
Yeah. Awesome.
And our stats, our stats I shared earlier with you, show that it works, right? And just so proud of our low turnover and just the quality of individuals we have working in our.
As you should be. Congratulations on all of your success right now. I think you work with every major hotel company that's out there, in addition to having all of the independent properties in your portfolio as well. Thank you so much, Justin Jabara, Meyer Jabara Hotels. Do me a favor, hang out backstage. Let me wrap up, then I can give you a real goodbye. See you later. I want to thank all of you folks for being here. This has been such a great and rewarding year. And I know you're going to want to catch up on some of those shows over holiday break. We'll be running some best ofs, but also get our complete catalog of shows at novacancynews.com, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you want to watch us, of course, we're here on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram now. I'm broadcasting on Instagram. That's right. And on YouTube. Thanks so much, everybody, for being here. And remember, you've got one life, so blaze on. And as Anthony would say, be kind to yourself. Back here tomorrow.